I think, anyway. So, will we get into it today? And Andy, I hope you're sitting there. I hope you're waiting to hear this, dude. Damn. Imagine my surprise today when I go to my favourite website. Favourite one. You know what one it is. We all know what one it is. The Mysterious Universe. And I was met with... Thought the picture wasn't going to come up there. Dang, that was a hold the breath moment for all of half a second, right? And I was met with this scary looking bugger here. A little drone flying about. Thinking, what's going on here? And the last time we had covered drones on the show, they were at... Whoa! Hang on! Dang! Joe Joseph just messaged me. Joe Joseph! What has Joe Joseph messaged me with? You see, he is alive, folks. I haven't done anything bad to him. Oh, Joe. Absolute madness. Absolute madness. Nothing to report, folks. Let me reset again, right? So, I'm having my coffee. Just got over the fact I'm not getting a haircut. So I'll go and have a look. I know how I can cheer myself up. I'll go to Mysterious Universe. Nick Redfern will be in there. He'll cheer me up. He'll give me my dose, my shot of woo. I like to get myself going in the morning. But the first thing I seen was that ugly contraption there. And I thought to myself, I remember us talking about drones on the show before, right back at the start of the year. Probably something that, as the host of a show that provided the explanation to something mysterious that was basically doing the rounds in the world media, maybe I should make more of a thing of that. Maybe I should big that up more. Maybe I should start to shout from the rooftops the kind of information that me and you out there bring to the table. And guess how confused I was when I seen the headline, new research on the mysterious Colorado drone fleets. Wait, what? What? What drone fleets? The mysterious drone fleets? I mean, you can't be meaning the Colorado drone fleets that we were talking about on, say, I think it would have been, was it the 20th of January? 19th of January in this year. Yes, we addressed the mystery drones. You remember that? You must remember that. You should remember that. If you don't remember that, I'm not going to be happy. I'm only joking. But no, we addressed this back earlier on in the year. And the mysterious drone story that had been going round for maybe a month or so, I'd kind of touched upon it. Clyde Lewis, he had been kind of touching upon it at that point as well. It was doing the rounds. It was in the media. People were saying, what are these lights that we're seeing in the sky? Is it UFOs? Is it UAPs? Is it Independence Day? Getting ready to, go real world? And then, when I done that stream right there, we got a call from one of our good friends and somebody who comes on to Freaky Friday regularly now. He usually hangs out in the chat room, and I'm going to give him such a huge head today. Not head, I'm going to give him a huge head. Okay? So, this show here, we're going to play a bit in a moment. Alright? Because this isn't the sequence of events that took place today when I was feeling like banging my head off a table, reading about a story that we had solved at the start of the year. Or should I say, Andy had solved at the start of the year. Now, you might think, well, come on, Kev, somebody calling into your show doesn't really prove anything. Well, it was good enough to get on a nationally syndicated show on the back of that. And to all intents and purposes, up until this point, up until today, I and many others out there had believed and were quite confident in the fact there wasn't anything too mysterious to these drones that we were talking about at the start of the year. So in here, it's not Nick Redfern. Knew it wouldn't be. It's Paul Seaburn. I need to call him. So it says, before the Andromeda took over the media, you know what I'm talking about. The biggest story of 2019 and early 2020, before the world went absolutely... You remember? You remember back in those more simpler times? You remember? I do. Just was a fleet of mysterious drones flying in formation over a wide swatch, not a Sasquatch, just a swatch of Colorado, and occasionally crossing the borders into Nebraska and Wyoming. Now you can go and check the stories, but we don't need to, because we used one of those original reports to debunk it. Not debunk it, to explain it. It was a mystery. People were seeing lights here, there, everywhere. They were going up at night. People were talking about seeing almost like a mothership thing in the sky, things coming off it, getting launched out of it. Real good woo, right? So it says, while there were numerous eyewitness reports to the videos to back them up, the FAA and both local and federal agencies appear to be at a loss to either find out who owned them or take any kind of drastic measure against them, spawning numerous theories linking them to secret government equipment tests or secret government surveillance activities, blah, blah. And the pandemic and blah, blah, blah provided a cloud for these unexplained drones to hide in. But out of sight does not mean out of mind it's a publication called The War Zone, which has dove deep into the files looking for answers and recently came up for air with some unusual fish and more questions. Long story short, this here from thedrive.com. This intensive investigation that the people at the War Zone have done into a not so mysterious drone flap that was already solved at the start of the year. Check this out, folks. Newly released FAA documents give unprecedented look into the Colorado drone swarm mystery. Hundreds of pages of documents provide consistent, detailed descriptions of the drones and conclude the military wasn't behind the operation. July 15th, 2020. 6 months on from when we absolutely know fine what one aspect of that drone operation was, but I want you to check this out. I want you to check this out because for something that was solved comprehensively thanks to information that our good friend Andy was privy to because of the circle of people he moves in, they've gone and done, check this out. I'm not even going to get into this. This is absolutely preposterous. They've done all this investigating on something, bear in mind, that was already pretty much solved. And you can come down here, it goes through all these different kind of agencies and people that they approached. They've got all this going on, people denying that they know anything of it. Well, obviously, because this is where we solved it here. And I've got a message from Andy to check my Facebook. I'll do that in just a moment, brother. But I'm just going to play the bit where you called into the show. I think that's the best way to do it. Because undoubtedly, this is going to start doing the rounds again now. People are going to say, oh, the mystery drones in Colorado. And we can tell them, no, not so mysterious. Because this is a really good example of how no matter how much people try to occult information, i.e. hide it away, it can get pretty unmanageable at times. And I say that because I often use the example of space and people saying, well, you know, that yesterday, asteroids coming in, okay? And I absolutely wholeheartedly agree that we're never going to get the truth from any of the alphabet agencies or governments or even freedom of information requests. Trust me, folks, if you don't have the need to know, you ain't going to get to know, right? But I've always said when it comes to space, there's another kind of angle going on because it's not just people at NASA or government and things like that. You've got amateurs. Some of the amateurs more enthusiastic than scientists that have made a whole career out of this stuff. And the technology they've got is just every bit getting as good as the stuff that they're using in mainstream anyway. drone technology is a bit similar. That's a pretty niche kind of hobby. And if you are a drone enthusiast, and I'm talking generally here, I'm not talking about Andy in particular, I mean in general, it would be a bit like remote controlled car racing, using robots and kind of the robot fighting type of thing. You're going to have amateurs and people in and around whatever the particular activity is. And they're going to be rubbing shoulders with people that are moving in circles that people like you or I, we would never have a conversation with them. And that's exactly how we got to the bottom. Thank you so much, Jordan. Really appreciate it. And I'm just so really happy that at least Homer's still there. Who knew? It could have been something really kind of crazy came onto the screen. You never know. The way my day's going, it could have been something offensive that got us kicked off of here. Trust me. So let's listen to a bit of this. I'm going to check out what Andy has to say. I'm going to have to make sure this is even going through so you can hear it, folks. Here we go. There it goes. There it is. Andrew.
Oh, God.
Hey, brother. How you doing, man?
This phone, I just want to chuck it.
Don't chuck it, dude. Don't chuck it. It sounds brilliant now. You're live with us. So listen, dude. Do it. Nail this story dead. Tell us what's happening in Nebraska and Colorado.
So you guys know all about like the swarm technology and all that stuff.
Yep.
Basically what this is it's...
And algorithm, just so you know, it's my own content. I know you'll probably say I'm duplicating it, but I'm adding to it. I'll pull funny faces. I'll have emojis on the screen. I'll sit and I'll dance. No duplication. And yeah, Dave gave Kev permission to use Dave's property. Okay, so again, you can't really get me for that one, right?
It's a privately funded project. I'll just tell you the guy's name. I won't give you his last name, so you can't bug him.
Yep.
Just like I don't like it when people know my last name. Can't talk. Last name.
I totally understand that, and I'd never give your name out. Your last name's Andy. First name's Spooky, right? On the air. Don't you worry about that, dude.
I appreciate it, brother. So my buddy Dan works for a company, and this is kind of what they do. They take these weird projects on that have to do with using swarm technology and using drones to do all kinds of different crazy things. Like he did some stuff for the Olympics in Beijing when they...
Hey.
I like drones, but they do tend to go on and on PPP.
Polly, I love you to bits, brother. I truly do. A for the super chat, B for your humour. It kind of lines up with mine, man. No shock there. We're all kind of similar around here. We're not all the same. Let me make that quite clear. We're not some kind of crazy corner of the internet where we're all going to start drinking the Kev-Aid. Because we've got our own minds. But in the end of the day, we've got core similarities, don't we? PPP.
They did the swarm technology with smaller drones to do light shows. He was the head of that project. Well, he's the head of this project. He went far enough to tell me that, like, I can only say XYZ. But that was just because it was an in-person thing and we're friends. You'll have to just wait and see what happens with it because...
So look, I can pause it there, okay? I can pause it there because we get the gist. We get the gist. And that's why, to me, it's utterly... Look at this. Look. It goes on. FAA launched investigations as media senators pressed for truth. Okay, admittedly, at least when they were pressing for truth, it was before Andy kind of came on and risked his own life. The men in black, they could have been after him or anything out there. Now, I laugh and I joke, but remember he did get some kind of phone call after it. But in the end of the day, we got to know the truth. It was drone swarm technology that they were trialing out. And you know how we've got a problem with bees and pollination kind of things? Just think of that kind of stuff. And you see a lot of drone programs as well where they're planting trees as well. We had the Sony advert that came out about their drone technology, pretty much all the stuff that you would have seen getting tested in Colorado at a time when nobody knew what was going on, thus making it the mysterious drone story. But you see, we might not be the biggest channel in the world, and even if we were, even if we got close, we would never ever claim to be anything more than we are. We're just people here trying to find the answers to some of these cool mysteries, some of the woo that's out there. And like I've always warned you, like I've always said, the truth, it's sometimes not as fantastic and not as woo-filled as perhaps we had once imagined before that blank got filled in. But we have to stick to being true to what we say we are. And it's got to be about the truth. Now, when I take you to the back of Speculation Island and we go mad over there, that's okay, because I'll always warn you. I'll always tell you we're going into Kev's own personal kind of crazy mind now, into the crazy kind of woo. But that there, again, a big shout out to Andy in Colorado. Go figure. Go figure. An amateur drone enthusiast who goes out flying drones with other drone people in Colorado came into contact with the people that were flying drones in Colorado. I mean, it's not even as if it's a stretch to see how we got that information. It's very logical. And when it was explained to us, again, very logical. And a big shout out to Clyde Lewis and Ron Patton over at Ground Zero. Their show's like 1,000 times bigger than mine. They're syndicated, they're here, there, everywhere. I might go from Norway to Nebraska and Australia to Alaska. But Clyde Lewis goes several ways round again, okay? And he got Andy on the show, and Andy done a great job on there as well. And you can hear that over at groundzeromedia.org, I think the website is. Just search for Clyde Lewis Ground Zero. You'll find it on there. So, did it add to my frustrations today that the mysterious universe threw a story at me that I knew if only people had listened to this humble little show that we've got going on here, they would have known it's not so mysterious. You know, there's been investigative journalists, if that's what they want to call themselves, over at The Drive that have been working for months on this. Look at it. Absolutely months. Oh, keep on going, Kev. FAA stuff. Oh, dang. Yeah, we keep on going. They've got PDFs you can look at in there. FAA concluded no military involvement. Blah, 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 blah. Legal issues murky in the FBI role limited. Blah, 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 blah. Oh, look at space potatoes. I'm not even lying. They spend a whole paragraph or two talking about a space potato. And we're not even... Are we getting to the bottom yet? No. Search for non-military origins led to a dead end. Yes, so you were told. Many questions remain. Did they? Did they really? You know, who wrote this? What genius wrote this? Where are you, genius? Genius didn't put his... Oh, no, he did. Brett Tingley. What a bloody name. I'm just saying he probably is. Okay? Yeah, I'm just saying, you know? Old Kev boy here, sitting in the corner of a room, not a team of researchers do I have. But yeah, we got to that. Yeah. Absolutely. So I'm going to have a little drink of coffee. I'm going to reset my head battery. And then we're going to get into the most clickbaity title that I have ever seen. Maybe not ever. I'm maybe exaggerating that just a little bit. But put it this way, Karen, if she's in the chat room, our friend the Gherkin. Hey, big shout out to Mr. and Mrs. Gherkin. Listen, they call themselves that. It's not me calling them that, and at least I didn't call them gerbils this time. But a big shout out to the Gherkins. And she knows exactly what this headline done to me today. I had put on the nasty, shouty caps locks because she had just sent me a story. Maybe something we can get into on a future stream. But it's a bit gory, the one she sent. Takes missing people to a whole new level. But while I was talking to her on the top of my spy phone, yeah, I said spy phone, at the top you get a little breaking news bit coming through. Flashes up, it says, Kev, breaking news. Oh, whoa. And the reason I went, whoa, is because it had aliens in the title. Breaking news about new planets, aliens. Oh, what's going on? Well, come back in a moment. And unfortunately, I'll have to explain to you, probably not a lot. But that's how we roll here. Sometimes it's woo, sometimes we kill the woo. But together, we have a laugh, don't we? Here we go, folks. I'll be back in just a moment. Don't go anywhere.